y'all, the media's or television media's treatment of Justin Fields has to be studied. It's quite perplexing to me because when he was a Chicago Bear, national media made it seem like he was almost Jamarcus Russell with legs. Jamarcus Russell who could run. I mean, it was so much negative, so much negative press about him. It was so much so many critiques about him, like crazy, to the point where you had people berating Chicago Bear fans who wanted to keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison Jr., etc. You had people calling Bears fans stupid, right? And, now he's in Pittsburgh, and now everybody is loving him. And I'm glad for Justin, because I really love Justin Fields. I really root for that young man. For real. He handled himself with a lot of grace, professionalism, with an abysmal, Chicago Bears, the front office was terrible. We didn't have an O-line around him. He didn't have weapons, and he still was making do with almost nothing. And still was having dynamic plays. He was not last year, the year before that. Justin was keeping us in games so much. He was moving the chains in ways we hadn't seen the ball being moved, right? With the defense that was giving up 35 points a game, and nobody took that into account, right? It's so funny now, man. Nobody, when they bring up Justin Fields' record in Chicago, they don't bring up that context matters. That horrible-ass defense we had, especially not last year, the year before that. Terrible when he rushed for 1,000 yards. Our offensive line was horrible, defense terrible, and he was keeping us in games all the time. People are like, oh, well, look at his wins and losses, right? It's like a quarterback. Sometimes people only look at wins and losses, and other things matter around that unit. The defense got better this last past season, But even more than that, y'all, people are much more empathetic to Caleb Williams than they were with Justin Fields. He didn't have weapons his entire tenure, for real, with the Bears. Well, he really didn't have no offensive weapons like that his entire tenure. Offensive line was terrible entire tenure here. Defense got good the last year. And people were still not empathetic to him and all understanding. Now, Caleb is a rookie, so I get it. People are looking at him different because he's a rookie and all of that. But it's Justin was under a ton of pressure. Man, that offensive line, man, look, the D-line was in his grill as soon as the ball was snapped. So, it just, I don't know, man. It's crazy how now the media is looking at him in a different light. And again, I can argue he was playing better at times with the Chicago Bears. But I guess what it is, if you don't win those games, it doesn't matter if you don't win the games. But again, context matters. When he was putting up better numbers sometimes with the Bears, people was calling him trash. And now they love him. Maybe because he's with the historic Pittsburgh Steelers franchise and they're winning games. Again, when you winning cures everything. People talk about you differently when you win games. He's 2-0 as a starter. But now, it's now they want to come around. They want to come around now, and Justin was doing the same things with the Bears and even better at times. It's just when we don't get the win, he became the reason. He became the reason we didn't get the win. But now it's when they get the win, it's now everybody yo, it's crazy how the media flipped. And again, I want to call it Bears hate. But I don't really know because people are really empathetic to Caleb Williams. And maybe because Caleb was looked at as the generational quarterback guy, a guy people looked at as the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, where they're being more patient with him, where they're willing to see things they didn't want to see in Justin Fields. Maybe because Justin went to Ohio State and they always look at the Ohio State quarterbacks as bust. I don't know. Maybe because he didn't win the Heisman. It's they never looked at these certain things with Justin Fields like they do with Caleb Williams. And they were trashing Justin. But now he with the Steelers, and again, maybe because they win in the games, but it's so, the way they flipped on him The way the conversations around, like people are wowing at the passes he made. They got called back due to penalties. He was doing that all the time in Chicago, all the time with the Bears. He was doing that. He had a ton of stuff. A ton of his passes got overturned, got called back. Dynamic passes because of penalties. A lot. Dudes was dropping passes a lot for the Bears. He was making dynamic throws and people were dropping passes. And nobody looked at that. Now they're looking at it. Now they're taking those things into account. They're looking at taking those things into context now. And I don't know, maybe because he over there in Pittsburgh or what, or because they just won the games. But listen, when we lost games, people automatically, the media blame Justin Fields instead of looking at the putrid defense we had, but not last year, year before that, or the horrible offensive line we had, the terrible play calling he was subjected to in Chicago. Terrible play calling. Over and over again, having different offensive coordinators in and out every year. Nobody looked at that. Nobody took that into account. They was trashing them. And now they want to jump on board now. And I'm glad people are looking at him. I'm not mad about it. I'm not. I'm glad they're looking at him and with a different lens. But it was just like, man, he was so hated by national media when he was here. Like, and again, is it the wins? Cause like I hate when analysts do that. Like, oh, how many did he win? How many did he lose? Bro, if any Chicago Bear fan will tell you the season before last, when we were lucky to get stops. We were lucky to get turnovers that year. And he keeping us in games, marching us downfield. Whether it was with his legs or with his arm, he was marching us downfield, getting us in the end zone. And nobody wanted to give him credit for that. Nobody wanted to take a note and say, oh man, the defense was bad. They always brought up his record. And I hate when quarterbacks are simply just judged by record, wins and losses. You got to take into account what the team looking like, especially if Shorty keeping us in games, you know. But now they want to give him the kudos. Now they want to give him the respect. They want to give him the props. But when Bears fans were saying this, we was stupid. We was dumb. We didn't know what we was talking about. We didn't know what we was looking at. We were a piss poor franchise. We were a piss poor fan base who didn't know no great QB play when we saw it. Now they're advocating for Justin. Now. And I'm glad they are, but it's just so funny how they're taking so many things into consideration with Caleb. And again, I think it's because they want Caleb to be the one. They want him to be the superstar. And they never had a want for Justin to be the superstar until he came to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Till he came over there. Now he gets a different look. He gets a different, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm really happy for Justin. And I hope Justin becomes a QB of the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers for sure. But I just want to point out how people was making Bears fans feel dumb for rooting for him. They were making us feel like we didn't know shit about football because we were saying, man, we fooled with him. But now the conversations have shifted, you know? And you can argue again, he not playing better than he was with the Bears. He doing it's similar things. Similar things. Similar stuff. Now, he ain't turned the ball over. So that, okay, I give him that he ain't turned the ball over. And that helps when you don't turn the ball over. But Justin was having better games with the Bears at times. And, nobody wanted to look at nobody wanted to take none of that into account. It was just like, oh, y'all don't know good quarterback play if it smacked y'all in the face. And now they on the team. Now they riding with him. Now they on his jock. And again, I'm not mad that they riding with him. I'm just pissed at how we were looked at in Chicago as stupid for rocking with dude. How we was looked at like we just didn't know nothing. How we was berated. Oh, we was pointing out the holes in the offensive line, the play calling. We was pointing out the terrible defense the years before that. All of that. We were pointing out the changes in offensive coordinator. We were pointing out how they wasn't playing to his strengths at all them first couple of years. Like, man, and nobody wanted to listen. They wanted to just place the blame on him. He's trash. He's from Ohio State. He's trash. He plays for the Bears. He's garbage. Now you want to rock with him now, and now you want to see the things that Caleb Williams has to deal with because you want Caleb to be the dude. You didn't want Justin to be the dude. I want Caleb to be the dude too, but it's just unfair.